Well, let's look at this. I have in the studio the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers. It's great to have you join us on the show, Mr. Bassey Esisen.
Thank you and Happy New Year.
Yes, so it's really a Happy New Year. We saw the last time in 2019, and this is 2020. Well, I'm not happy. When I got this information days back, I reached out to you and I reached out to everybody in that sector to know what your reaction is to this. First, how did that come to you? As of today, 6 persons confirmed dead. I've put information online and confirmed even from our correspondent there. How did it come to you and your association?
Actually, like a sad way to start the year. Even me and in my association as well, nobody's happy about it. It is sad in the sense that lives were lost, properties worth millions of naira were lost. And again, at the end of the day, it puts fears into the minds of consumers. That's why we issued a press statement to communicate with the government of the state, the governor, and the people of the state, as well as the families of the deceased and those that lost their properties in the incident. It's actually sad because we're doing so much to create awareness on the safe use of gas, especially LPG. And like the DJ of Sound said, most of these things, if the vendors and the practitioners keep to the procedures and all that is needed to safely handle LPG, most of these accidents will be avoided.
So indeed, there is need to improve safety. I know you're doing a lot. I've been with you to do 1, 2, 3 things, talking about letting people know why it is important to shift from charcoal and kerosene to the use of LPG. So tell us more. What would you say? Do we need to do more, or are the people just this attitudinal change thing? Is that the problem we're having in this part of the world, or what do we really need to do so that we can take advantage of LPG in this part of the world?
Well, LPG in this part of the world, we've been trying to create the awareness, increase usage, and it's not a one-day thing. It's something that is going to be consistently done almost every day. All stakeholders are now involved, DPL, Standard Organization of Nigeria, and even some individual practitioners have come up to make up several ways of increasing awareness, some in billboards, some in pamphlets. You go to some plants, they give you handouts on steps to follow on how to use gas in your home, and in case of any eventuality, what you should do. So it's an increased awareness we are going through every time. In the past 2 years, my association has distributed, in the course of distributing about 10,000 cylinders to people in the rural areas. We've actually, not before even distribution, shown them how to use gas, the safety precautions they have to imbibe in everyday uses of gas. And you find out that with that, a lot of them have been happy, and they have actually jettisoned the use of charcoal and kerosene and embracing LPG. So it's something we do consistently, not a one-off, so that it will consistently be a reminder and a recurrent thing in the minds of users.
You've talked about this now. What about standards among your members? How do you try to curtail the standards? How do you monitor them and make sure that they always meet up to standards among your members? Because they are the marketers.
The major regulators, Department of Petroleum Resources and Standard Organization of Nigeria, periodically embark on inspection and monitoring of these plants to ensure conformity with the standards. And within the association too, we have a technical committee that oversees that members are self-regulated within the association. Make sure that what you are doing conforms with the standard that's given. Some even go to the extent of displaying some of the keynotes of the standard on the walls in their offices as a constant reminder of what they should do and what they should not do. And even people coming to the plant, what they should adhere to and what they should not do, so as to maintain a safe environment at all times.
Now let's go back to Kaduna State. I've been monitoring this, and I saw that the deputy governor was there. A lot of pronunciations was made, and talking about even closure of gas retail shops within the metropolis, ordering them to move to industrial areas in the state. How does this directive come to you as Executive Secretary of the Marketers Association?
Well, the directive is understood going by the emotions of the moment. You need to restore confidence in the mind of citizens. But actually, if you look at it strictly, it's not the ideal directive as at now. Because we are still trying to go into deepening the use of LPG. The federal government is very, very interested in this program, and the key areas of deepening LPG usage has to do with accessibility of the product, affordability, availability, and acceptability. Now you are asking them to move to the industrial areas, probably remote areas as well, and you've not taken into consideration the issue of accessibility. How accessible is the product to the users? If it's too far away, I'd rather buy firewood when it's closest to me than go all the kilometers and distance to get gas. So we are hoping that with time, that will be looked into, and actually rather than come up with such a directive, we should actually learn to look at things, the causative of some of these accidents, and not nip them in the bud. Because if we look at like researches come up on what are responsible for these accidents, it will help a long way to curtail future occurrences, but not just kind of dangling the big stick.
No, slamming the big hammer, just bam on there. Let's look at reported cases now of substandard cylinders. It's also worrisome. Sun's DG made it clear there that there are going to be measures, they're going to take charge and not going to let this continue. Now, what do you also think as a player in this sector is responsible for substandard cylinders, and how can we get them off our markets?
In fact, we need to commend Sun for that directive and what they're actually doing right now. It doesn't all go well for anybody. Thank God the federal government has given incentive for local production or manufacture of gas cylinders in Nigeria. Then the point is, there are standards for cylinders, and these standards have been reeled out by Sun. So importers are expected to adhere to these standards. You don't just bring in anything in the name of cylinder to the country and expect it to go to be used. It's injurious, it's dangerous. So Sun has actually stamped its feet, and we really give them the kudos. Yes, they should go ahead and do more than that. Because if it's not the product alone, if the vessels cannot stand the product, definitely we'll have accidents. So Sun is doing what is right, and we pray that they should be able to do it all around everywhere. Because we're looking at the cost of cylinders. You don't, because of cheap cylinders, you can't get something that is a dead trap. We know this, the lifespan of a cylinder. Definitely, if you get a good cylinder, Sun-approved cylinder with Sun embossed marking on it, because any cylinder that comes to the country without those markings are definitely not what is acceptable in the country. So they should not even be used at all.
I wonder why we risk our lives making money. I don't understand that, bringing in substandard drugs, substandard cylinders. These are dangerous things that could wipe up a whole state, a whole community. It's worrisome. Now, what's your outlook for the year 2020? There are a lot of projections from your association and everybody that has to do with promoting the use of LPG, taking advantage of gas reserves in Nigeria. So what are we looking at deepening the usage of LPG this year?
Yeah, as at the 2019, the consumption has risen to about 900,000 metric tons. And well, we may say that is still good, but considering our population,
we're not doing,
and considering the fact that we are well endowed with these resources, we are not really doing any. But we believe that with the government incentive actually put in place now, take for example like the pioneer status granted to Techno Oil on cylinder production, and even to encourage others that will come in, particularly in even accessories, because even most of the accessories are all imported into the country. So if we have some of these things that can be produced here, and then we can be assured of the regular availability of the product, we are sure that before we get out of December 2020, we should be close to 2 million metric tons. And two, while we are growing it exponentially, we want to actually speak more on safety. All the stakeholders involved, I'm sure with the recent happening, well, we've been discussing on this issue. We have a joint working committee set up by the Standard Organization of Nigeria and DPR, and these are issues we are talking about, safety and how to ensure that these things are maintained. Because right now, if you find out, even with among the gas plants, incidences of explosions are actually reduced. But we're having them more, especially with the retailers. Because these people are many, some are not registered, and the way they proliferate, it's even a source of concern. Take, for example, 10 boys will be in a shop with their guy. By the time they have their freedom, they have their own shops. Some of these shops are not even known to the regulatory agency because they are not even registered. They see it as an offshoot as a gas business, which is not supposed to be. Every retailer shop should be actually certified and registered. And the same thing too, we're working with their own association to ensure that they all, because if they all belong to the association, it is easy to monitor the ones that are not doing the right thing. So in my association as well, we have a training center, a resource center, which we are working together with the vendors, with the retailer association to see how we can effectively train their members and retrain them. It's not a one-off training, because new things are coming up and they need to be trained, as well as operators of the plant itself, going as far as the management of the plant. We need to train everybody and consistently.
Everybody needs to be trained. It's on that training note that we're going to round up this our discussion. Thank you very much, Executive Secretary, National Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers. Thank you for sharing your time with us and talking passionately regards to this topic. We pray that avoidable incidents like this, we just try to not make them happen and move on, because we need to dip in the use of LPG one way or the other. Exactly. And forget about kerosene and firewood. The health hazards are something that we'll talk about some other. Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Bassey Esisen, for your time on the show.
Thank you very much.